Hey guys, welcome back, it's Ripe again. In today's video, a homeowner association fined me $850 daily for living in an RV on my own private farm. They ended up vandalizing my property. Here is what happened. Let's dive right into the story. The first one starts like this. Sometimes when you have lived on a farm your entire life, you end up at a crossroads of needing to figure out if you're gonna leave or stay there. That happened to me when I was in my late 20s and engaged to be married. We were more than welcome to stay in the main house with my parents, but we wanted some privacy. After speaking to my father, we agreed that we are going to build another house on the other side of the property and sign a portion of the land into my name. I could keep working on the family farm and have the space I needed at the same time. I bought an RV home to live in with her while we got the money together and waited for the house to be built. Our neighborhood was part of an HOA that my family never joined due to the personality of the people running it. Very uptight and snooty people that think we are dumb because we work on a farm, like it was some useless work despite it being the industry that allows people to have food in the first place. I could rant about that for a while, but I will stop and get closer to the point. Basically, one day I started getting mail from the HOA and I have a bad habit of just leaving my mail around and forgetting to open it. When I got around to the pile, I found out that they were sending me daily fines for having the RV motorhome. Not a tiny amount either, but $850 per day. I don't even want to try and do the math right now to think how much total they were asking me for, but it was well into the tens of thousands of dollars. So I called them up. I want to talk about these fines I keep getting in the mail from you. HOA, oh, are you paying via check or money order? What? Neither, no. I'm not paying you anything because these are bogus and I want you to stop sending me mail. HOA, we have a strict rule against RV homes in the neighborhood. They make us look like some poor trailer park instead of a place with decent people. Congratulations on your stupid and backwards thinking rules, but maybe if you actually took 2 seconds to look into things you would see that I don't belong to the HOA. HOA person, it doesn't matter if you are a member or not, you still need to adhere to the rules because they affect the community as a whole. Let me make this perfectly clear for you. I am not giving you any money today or any other day. You can send me all the mail you want because I know that I don't need to pay you. If you want to sue me for the money, go ahead. I will just show the court that I'm not a member of your organization. I hung up the phone before they could reply back with more stupidity. They could not make me give them money and I would just tear up their dumb mail. What I didn't expect was for them to go from stupid to flat out criminal within the next week. So every single Sunday night we go into the main house to have a big meal with my parents. It's very old school and traditional, but we love every minute of it. A nice hot hearty meal after a long week of farm work. Of course with a few drinks going around as well. By the time we were done and got back to the RV, we saw that it had been vandalized. The windows were smashed and the entire thing was covered in spray-painted words that degraded us, calling us dumb and hicks and white trash. It felt bad and I knew the moment I saw it who was responsible for it. The HOA wanted our home gone so badly that they decided to try and actually destroy it. However, what they didn't know was that we had cameras that caught them in the act. Not on the RV, but by the fence of the chicken coop right near it. We installed them a couple years back after we found a good tip that it could help catch whatever critters were sneaking in to kill chickens. This made patching up holes and saving chickens and eggs amazing. Looking at that I could see who it was doing the destruction and I wanted to make them pay. We were gonna call a lawyer and also get charges pressed, but I wanted to do something else first. HOA meetings were open to everybody regardless of if they were a member or not. I went to the latest one and when the floor was open, decided to make my point. My RV was vandalized Sunday night. And by the way, Ripe Stars, I just got an amazing idea for content. If HOA meetings are really always open to the public, I would love to attend some HOA meetings in some crazy HOA communities, preferably in Florida or something. I bet people there can share some crazy real-life stories. Anyway, let's continue to this story. So I think that people should be on the lookout to catch anybody doing this kind of thing. HOA, well, if you were actually a member, we would be able to help you find the kids responsible for this. Oh, I don't need help. I have on video exactly who came in and did it. I just think others, especially non-HOA members, should keep their eyes open. I sure as hell didn't expect board members to destroy my home. That created a little uproar and me getting thrown out before I could show the footage to everybody. Just because I'm a farmer does not mean that I don't have an internet connection and the ability to share it around to other people in the area. If it ended at just some harmless spray paint, I might have honestly ended it with just the revenge. My wife could have been in the RV and gotten a brick or glass hurting her, and I was not letting that stand. So therefore, we went to court and my lawyer showed the footage of the board members clear as day destroying my property. I also decided to bring up for motive that I had all the fines from them I refused to pay due to not being an HOA member. And well, the HOA president was actually dumb enough to try and argue with the judge that he didn't know the law about HOA fines, that I had to pay them and the judge needed to order them to do it. I can promise that the worst thing to do in court is to insult a judge or tell him that he has no idea what he's talking about. And well, after that stunt, everything was over very fast, and they were ordered to pay me for the repair damages and to stop harassing me. On the criminal end of things, I was told a week later that they were given a warning for the trespassing and to call the police if they ever did it again. Not surprising, most people would not go to jail for just that. What was shocking to me at least was destruction of property did not land them at least a little time in jail. Not an expert in the legal system if it's not obvious, but if anybody reading is, maybe they can explain it to me. Anyway, we repaired the RV and are still living in it while our house is being built. Our hope is the house is done before my wife gives birth to our little future farmer. And yeah, Ripe Stars, I hope I'm not the only one that absolutely hates it when HOAs bother farmers. I really don't know what it is with HOA and farmers, but it seems like the people that HOA, or at least entitled HOA members, despise the most are farmers that are actually providing the food for all of us. Anyway, if you enjoyed this story, please don't forget to like the video and maybe even subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much. The next one is another revenge story. So this happened a few years ago when I was serving overseas with the US military. The location I was at was in a poorer area. There's a fair number of panhandlers and a lot of petty crime and just people doing stupid crap. Well, one racket that goes on in this area, and apparently in other areas of the country too, is that local cops incentivize reporting vehicles with out-of-date inspection stickers. Apparently, they give these people access to the inspection database if they think the sticker is fake or stolen, which actually does happen. If you drive a motorcycle, one of the things they tell you when in process is to keep the sticker in your wallet and not on the vehicle, or else it will just get peeled off. Anyway, what these people will do if they find a car with an out-of-date sticker, or if they run the plates and find it is out of date, they will jimmy the door open, steal every single thing out of the car and leave a note that they've taken it to the police station. The idea is that if you show up at the police station to get your stuff and they force you to pay the fine for an overdue sticker and then give you a deadline for an inspection, or else you will get another fine. Well, I came out to my car one morning and lo and behold, there was a note on my seat saying that all my stuff was at the local police station because my inspection sticker was fake and I had to go get it. No, not only am I late for work, my kid is also going to be late for school because there's no bus and I have to drive her every morning on my way. Also, my inspection sticker is out of date, so I have no idea what's going on. So now here's the thing that was extremely problematic. I had to put my passport and my wife/kids in the glove box because I was taking them to the base to get some paperwork done, as well as grab some paperwork for my wife to apply for a new passport because hers was expired. I'm very forgetful, so I put them in the night before and made sure the car was locked. Yeah, dumb mistake. So anyway, I get to the station, ask them what the heck was going on, and then when I have them look at the inspection documents that the guy had taken, which clearly stated the car had been inspected and was current, they apologized and told me they would give my things back and I had to wait there for a second. I asked to file a police report for theft, but they looked at me like I had 3 heads and told me that nothing was stolen even though somebody broke into my car and took my things. This is where a light bulb went off in my head, and this might fall into the unethical category. So the guy had taken official US passports, which might be a problem, but probably nothing would come of it since they were turned right into the police. However, I asked him where my wife's passport was and they told me that whatever is there is there. And well, I said I needed a police report because I needed to contact the US Embassy about a stolen passport and the fact that this police station would know exactly who the person was that stole it because they had dropped off my things that morning. I have never seen someone's attitude change as quickly as that cop's attitude changed. He tried to talk me out of filing a police report, but I was pretty insistent, so I went ahead with the police report and then I contacted the embassy and reported the passport stolen and gave them all the info of the police station, and when I got the police report I emailed it to them as well. I wound up getting a free passport out of it for my trouble. Then the embassy told me they were gonna handle it, and from what I heard, the person who broke into my car actually got arrested and fined and was looking at additional charges because he stole foreign documents. Really would have liked to have been a fly on the wall when one of the local cops rolled into wherever he was at and told him to come with them. Honestly, I don't feel bad at all. Hopefully this dude learned his lesson and I don't have any further issues until I PCS'd home. And the next one is titled Leaving My Work. And this is a story from r/malicious compliance. It starts like this. I was working for a smallish company, about 60 employees across several locations. Basically, IT support for both hardware, laptops, phones and software, and when I was hired, just under 9 years ago, it was verbally agreed that instead of clocking any call-outs as overtime, I would just take the time in lieu. Callouts were always minimal and there was never any issues with me taking the time here and there to make up for it. Any calls in the middle of the night were quickly resolved and I had no problem getting back to sleep. Appointments in the middle of the day were fine because of the additional hours from whenever. This worked well for almost my entire time there. I also always started early, just depending on when I left the house, got into the office, got my coffee, could have been anywhere between 5 and 30 minutes because I would leave the house earlier so as not to wake the family if school was off that day. I did not care at that point, it never bothered me, they got free time from me, but again, I did not care because honestly, what else did I have to do? It was a great job until it wasn't. One weekend I was working on some hardware maintenance, cleaning up wiring, Ethernet plugs, installing a new UPS that took me the better part of Sunday to complete, 6 to 8 hours. This was understood, approved in advance and appreciated. The following week though, I decided to start burning those extra hours up. I still came in early, as I had done for years, but started leaving an hour early from my regular end time every day if nothing was going on. This is important. If something needed to be done, I got it done. I was reachable via email until early evening and phone pretty much 24/7. This particular week was slow, so I had nothing going on. I left an hour early for the first 4 days. On Friday, my boss comes to me and gently says, "People noticed that you've been leaving early this week. I would like to make sure that you stay in your office until the scheduled end of day in case someone needs you." I explained to him that I was burning up Leo days and he just reiterated that it looks bad to others. Seriously? You cannot tell the others that I work my 40 hours a week, just not at the same time as them? Fine, cue my malicious compliance. I immediately submitted 4 hours of overtime for the hours that I didn't take in lieu. I still showed up at the office at whatever time I got there, but I didn't start any work until 8 AM. If asked, I would say, sure, 8 AM start time. If I got called outside of office hours, depending on how long I spent on the issue, I logged it as overtime. User calls me at 7 PM to ask a question. I answer him in 30 seconds, 1 hour overtime. When my boss then started to ask, how come you're submitting all of this overtime? I responded with a simple, some people don't understand or like me taking Leo time, so I need to claim it as overtime since I'm at my desk from 8 to 4. Because I was not available at his beck and call, it ended up costing them more money. 95% of my job could be done from home because of full remote access, but that stupid old school mentality means that people in the office need to see you at your desk all day long. I left the company very shortly after that for a much better paying job with full work from home. Know your worth. And by the way, Ripestories, I'm curious, I know that nowadays working from home gets more and more popular, so I'm curious, at your job, are you able to work from home or is it kind of frowned upon? Because I know that in many companies, people don't really like when others work from home and they claim they are just at home doing nothing. Then again, there have been studies on that, and I think from the studies that I've seen, it usually is that working from home is actually more productive. But who knows, let me know what you think about it. And the next one is an Am I the A-hole story with a full update, so please watch until the end to see the conclusion. So I, 41 female, live with my husband, 41 male, and daughters 10 and 17. My husband is a picky eater, which I've known for about 20 years. I'm used to making food and having my husband and or kids making faces, gagging, taking an hour to pick at a single serving, or just outright refusing to eat. My husband is notorious for coming home from work, taking one look at the dinner I've made, and opting for a frozen pizza. Most of the meals I make cater to their specific wants. Like, for example, spaghetti. My 10-year-old daughter only eats the plain noodles. My 17-year-old eats the noodles with a scrambled egg on top, no sauce. My husband only eats noodles with a specific brand of tomato sauce with ground beef in it. If I use any other sauce, even homemade, I'm gonna be eating leftovers for a week. So it is just one recipe of spaghetti. These days, husband complains that we have a lot of the same meals over and over. It's true, but when I've explained why that is true, it does not seem to sink in. I can only make a few things that everyone in the family will reliably eat, and those get old. A couple of nights ago, I made a shepherd's pie. I used a new recipe with seasoned ground beef, 3 out of 3 likes, peas, 2 out of 3 likes, and tomatoes, 1 out of 3, 1 out of 3 tolerate, with a turmeric smashed potato top layer. 2 out of 3 will eat mashed potato. Predictably, my 10-year-old ate a single bite and then gagged and ended up throwing hers away. My 17-year-old ate part of a single bowl and then put hers in the trash. My husband came home late and was not hungry. I was so tired of reactions to my food and putting in the effort for years, and it all finally came down on me at once. I burst into tears and cried all night and the next morning. So I told my husband that I was done cooking. From here on out, he would be responsible for evening meals. I would still do breakfast for the girls and lunch when they were not in school, but otherwise it was up to him. He said, "What about when I work late?" I told him he needed to figure it out. I told him that between him and the girls, I no longer found any joy in cooking and baking, and that I hated the way he and the girls made me feel when they reacted to my food, and that I was tired of the yuck faces and refusals to eat when I made something new, and that it broke my heart every time. This morning, he had to work, so he got up early to do some meal prep. He was clearly angry. He said he doesn't understand why I said I hated him. He said he doesn't know what to do and thinks I'm being unfair and punishing him. He said I make things that don't appeal to kids sometimes, and that I cannot expect them to like it when I make Greek-style lemon chicken soup. My 17-year-old enjoyed it, the 10-year-old and husband hated it. I countered that I make plenty of chicken nuggets, mac and cheese, grilled cheese, etc., but that picky or not, there's such a thing as respect for a person's efforts. So, Reddit, am I the a-hole? And yeah, Ripe Stars, I gotta say, I feel so bad for OP in this situation. However, I would say she is also not completely innocent in this situation. I'm not saying this because maybe her cooking is bad or something. The way they react is absolutely not okay. However, I feel like she has some responsibility along with her husband for the behavior her kids display. I at least feel like if you sort of like train your kids or at least introduce them to different foods when they are super young, I don't think that most kids end up as picky as these kids. So that's why I would say that either OP or her husband or both of them are definitely responsible for this behavior as well. However, there are definitely no excuses for the husband's behavior, and especially because his behavior is so similar to the kids, he probably fueled the behavior of the kids and is mostly responsible for it. And suffice it to say, obviously the disrespect shown to OP in this story is definitely not okay. The husband must apologize, and the kids should be told why it is not okay to act in such a way. Either way, someone on Reddit said, "Not the a-hole. This was exhausting and irritating to read. I cannot imagine actually living it. I would have done this years ago, honestly, and it's not even that they are picky really, it's that they are so damn rude about it, and your husband has the audacity to complain about the lack of variety in meals. No, it's time for him to deal with feeding the picky eaters in the house, including himself." I suggest you start finding some delicious recipes for two for you to make so you can cook and eat exactly what you want with a meal left over and no worries about feeding your ungrateful family. And indeed, that sounds like a good solution. Either way, comment number 2, why are you coddling these people? The children are going to grow up to be unbearable, just like your husband. Cook whatever you want, and if they don't like it, they can be effing hungry. 100% agreed, by the way. Either way, thankfully we have an update to the story, and it reads like this. So I spoke with each family member individually about their behavior. The 10-year-old apologized profusely and said that sometimes she does not like my cooking. The 17-year-old, who has only been with us since she was 16 and did not grow up with us, it was a bit too long and off topic for the original post, said that she appreciated that I make varied recipes, even if she did not always like them. She also said that she wanted to cook but had seen husband and 10-year-old's reactions to mine and was put off it. My husband accepted the TA judgment from the subreddit, and to his credit, he planned and executed every evening meal afterwards. The kids ate his meals, but my husband's lack of finesse, overboiled vegetables, untrimmed meat, soggy pasta, caused some picked over meals from the kids. Everything was edible though, and he very politely asked for some tips on things like how long to cook rice, but I did not physically help. I reassured him that I was not trying to watch him fail, but that I needed him to learn a lesson. After a couple of weeks, both kids were tired of husband's often repeated recipes, homemade pizza, Korean beef and vegetable bowls, and nuggets and fries, and he was stressed trying to get home from work in time to get meals done. The very first night, the 10-year-old cried over her dry and gross pizza crust. My husband fought her over it, and both of them looked to me to solve the issue. I redirected the 10-year-old to husband, saying it's his call since it's his dinner. With several meals, he made way too much mediocre food and he had to eat leftovers for days, which was cathartic. Eventually, I sat down with my husband and we evaluated the fallout. Husband said it hurt when the girls didn't like his food, and it was hard to plan things ahead on nights that he worked late. He also admitted that he was in a rut for recipes and that it was hard to modify for people's preferences. There is now a posted schedule and rule that said all family members are expected to adhere to. Each kid picked a night to cook. 10-year-old has Sunday, 17-year-old has Saturday. Husband and I split the weekdays according to work schedule. Since he works late on Monday and Friday, I took those. I work Tuesday and Thursday nights, so those belong to him. Wednesday is a flex day, anyone can cook or we might go out, and group projects are encouraged. The rules are no gagging, faces or complaining, cook chooses the meal period, assistance may be requested by anyone, special ingredient requests must be made a minimum of 2 days in advance. So far so good. 17-year-old has been learning a lot of technique, 10-year-old is thrilled to be addressed as chef by whoever is assisting her, and no one has yet broken any of the rules. Husband more easily asks for my advice when he is cooking, how to season, how long to cook things, which is a huge improvement. It's too early to declare victory and it takes a long time to make permanent changes, but it's encouraging progress. Thanks everyone for the advice and the support. Here is to continued positive change. And with this, we have reached the end of the video. However, if you cannot get enough of my content, please check out my endless playlist, where you can find thousands of hours of content. In addition, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel to not miss any of my daily uploads. Thank you so much in advance, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.